So if you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously. Okay? Just knock the hell. I promise you, I will pay for the legal fees. I promise. I promise. They won't be so much because the courts agree with us, too. What's going on in this country? Honestly, I hate to see that. Here's a guy throwing punches, nasty as hell, screaming at everything else when we're talking. And he's walking out, and we're not allowed, you know, the guards are very gentle with him. He's walking out like big high fives, smiling, laughing. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you. Okay, yeah, throw him out. Throw him out into the cold. You know, don't give them their coat. No coats. No coats. Confiscate their coat. You know, you can't win. By the way, just to finish, I had one word left, Iraq.
I would knock the hell out of ISIS.
Okay.
I would hit them, Brian, so hard like they've never been hit before.
What about civilian casualties? What about the fact that we're targeting them and people are very concerned about collateral damage?
I would do my best, absolute best. I mean, one of the problems that we have, and one of the reasons we're so ineffective is, you know, they're using them as shields. It's a horrible thing. They're using them as shields. But we're fighting a very politically correct war.
Yeah. Well, we see that
and the
happening
other
in
thing
Ramadi.
is with the terrorists, you have to take out their families. When you get these terrorists, you have to take out their families. They care about their lives. Don't kid yourself. But they say they don't care about their lives. You have to take out their families.
ISIS is making a tremendous amount of money because they have certain oil camps, right? They have certain areas of oil that they took away. They have some in Syria, some in Iraq. I would bomb the shit out of them. I would just bomb those suckers. And that's right. I'd blow up the pipes. I'd blow up the I'd blow up every single inch. There would be nothing left. And you know what? You'll get Exxon to come in there in 2 months. You ever see these guys, how good they are, the great oil companies? They'll rebuild that sucker brand new. It'll be beautiful. And I'd ring it, and I'd take the oil. I said, don't go into Iraq. I was right. I said, now we got to go, and we got to knock the shit out of these people. We got to do it. We've got to do it. Hillary wants to essentially abolish the Second Amendment. By the way, and if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, that will be a horrible day. If we had people where the bullets were going in the opposite direction, right smack between the eyes of this maniac, if some of those wonderful people had guns strapped right here, right to their waist or right to their ankle, and this son of a comes out and starts shooting, are you allowed to set up a super PAC? But we have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
Contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund.
You know, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
African American communities have suffered under Democratic control. To those I say the following: what do you have to lose by trying something new like Trump? What do you have to lose? I say it again, what do you have to lose? Look, what do you have to lose? You're living in poverty, your schools are no good, you have no jobs, 58% of your youth is unemployed. What the hell do you have to lose? America must reject the bigotry of Hillary Clinton, who sees communities of color only as votes, not as human beings worthy of a better future.
You look at Jeb Bush, poor Jeb. I mean, here's a guy spent $100 and some odd million already, and he's almost last. What he's done to the Bush family, and he doesn't even want to use the Bush name. He's ashamed of the Bush name. What Jeb Bush has done to the Bush family is very sad. Then he brings out his mother. I said, Jeb, your mother can't help you with ISIS. She can't help you with China. She can't help you with these people, Jeb. You got to do it yourself. But here's a guy who spends over $100 million, and he's nowhere. I mean, I think he's disgraced himself, to be honest with you.
I'm beating you. So, you shouldn't misrepresent how well you're doing with the polls. You don't have to say that. In fact, I was all for you until you started doing that, because that's a misrepresentation. Number one. Number two, this isn't me saying it. I don't care. I think I'm going to win fair and square. I don't have to win this way. Thank you. Lawrence Tribe and numerous from Harvard, said that there is a serious question as to whether or not Ted can do this, okay? There are other attorneys that feel, and very, very fine constitutional attorneys, that feel that because he was not born on the land, he cannot run for office. The entire early portion of the debate was Trump this, Trump that, in order to get ratings,
Mr. Trump,
it's
not
in order
CNN.
to get ratings,
Mr. Trump, I was on CNN last night watching.
Excuse me. I think it's very unprofessional.
But it wasn't.
Hillary last night with, we're going to give this, we're going to give that, we're going to give that. The poor woman, she's got to give everything away because this maniac that was standing on her right is giving everything away, so she's following. That's what's happening. This socialist slash communist, okay, nobody wants to say it.
You could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever. But she was, in my opinion, she was off base.
He said about language, my language. 2 days ago, he said he would take his pants off and moon everybody, and that's fine. Nobody reports that. He gets up and says that. And then he tells me, oh, my language was a little bit rough.
Okay.
My language.
Governor Casey, matter of principle, and I'll tell you.
You are the single biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush. You are the single biggest liar.
All right.
This guy lied. Let me just tell you. This guy lied about Ben Carson when he took votes away from Ben Carson in Iowa. And he just continues. And today, we had robocalls saying Donald Trump is not going to run in South Carolina, where I'm leading by a lot. I'm not going to run. Vote for Ted Cruz. This is the same thing he did to Ben Carson. This guy will say anything. Nasty guy. Well, let me just, he wants to be a tough guy. A lot of times, you'll have, and it doesn't work very well with
How tough is it to take property from an elderly woman?
Let me talk. Quiet.
How tough is it?
A lot of times. That's all of his donors and special interests out there. Well, I'm very glad that Ted mentioned Arizona, because probably the toughest man on borders is Sheriff Joe Arpaio. And 2 days ago, he totally endorsed me. So thank you. Well, I also happen to call him a lightweight, okay? And I have said that. So I would like to take that back. He's really not that much of a lightweight. And as far as, and I have to say this, he hit my hands. Nobody has ever hit my hands. I've never heard of this one. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it. Well, first of all, self-deportation is people are going to leave as soon as they see others going out. If you look at Dwight Eisenhower in the 1950s, they started moving people out and the rest of them left. Self-deportation, as I really define it, and that's the way I define it, is you're going to get some to go and the rest are going to go out. As far as the people that I've hired in various parts of Florida during the absolute prime season, like Palm Beach and other locations, you could not get help. It's the up season. People didn't want to have part-time jobs. They were part-time jobs, very seasonal, 90-day jobs, 120-day jobs, and you couldn't get. Everybody agrees with me on that. I've heard Ted say that over and over again on television, that he's the only one that could beat me. Just for the record, I've won 10. He's won 3 or 4.
last week, in fact, on Tuesday, I was 500,000 votes higher than him. I was 1 million votes higher than Marco. 1 million votes. That's a lot of votes. This little guy has lied so much about my record.
Here we go. The person.
He has lied so much about my record.
Mr. Rubio, Senator Rubio, why don't you let him?
And I will tell you this. First of all, I got a call from my sister and brother tonight. And they said, we had no idea Dad gave you $200 million. Believe me, I started off with $1 million. I built a company that's worth more than $10 billion. And I say it not in a bragging way, but that's the kind of thinking we need. Very low debt, tremendous cash flow. My financials they're all in there with the federal elections. You've seen them. Everybody's seen them. I say it only because that's the kind of thinking this country needs with $19 trillion in debt. Believe me.
He is lying, Ted. You know, I came up with the idea, but you have to spell it right. It's Lyin apostrophe, Lion Ted. The Bible held high. He puts it down and then he lies.
I never attacked him on his look, and believe me, there's plenty of subject matter right there.
Not reported on the financials. What the financials don't show also is your tax rate. They don't show whether you paid a low tax rate or no tax rate.
I fight very hard to pay as little tax as possible, and I've said that for the last 2 years. I fight very hard because this country wastes our money. They take our tax money and they throw it down the drain. They spend $4 trillion in the Middle East, and we can't fix a road or a bridge. And I fight very hard. I consider it an expense because, frankly, our country doesn't know what they're doing with our money or our tax money, and that's part of the problem. So I fight very hard to pay as little tax as possible.
What is your tax rate?
It's none of your business. You'll see it when I release. But it was not me on the phone, and it doesn't sound like me on the phone, I will tell you that, and it was not me on the phone. And when was this, 25 years ago?
In the early 90s, but
wow,
yeah.
you mean you're going so low as to talk about something that took place 25 years ago about whether or not I made a phone call. I guess you're saying under a presumed name.
Yes, under a presumed name.
Okay, the answer is no.
Go ahead.
To follow up on that, you keep calling us the dishonest press, the disgusting press.
Generally speaking, that's 100% true. Go ahead.
I disagree with that, sir. And if I can ask you this question, it seems as though you're resistant to scrutiny, the kind of scrutiny that comes with running for president of the United States.
I like scrutiny, but you know what? When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. He was begging for my endorsement. I could have said, Mitt, drop to your knees. He would have dropped to his knees. He was begging.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
And if we nominate someone who agreed with John Kerry, Barack Obama, and Hillary Clinton on foreign policy, we're not in a strong position to win.
Here's what you didn't hear in that answer, and this is important, guys. This is an important thing. What is your plan? I understand the lines around the state, whatever that means. This is not a game where you draw maps around.
And you don't know what it means.
What is your plan?
That's the problem.
What is your plan on health care? You don't have
a matter of principle, and I'll tell you.
You are the single biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush. You are the single biggest liar.
NBC Wall Street Journal just came out with a poll. Headline, Trump way up, Cruz going down. I mean, so don't, you can't, they don't like the Wall Street Journal, they don't like NBC, but I like the poll. And frankly, it just came out. And in Iowa now, as you know, Ted, in the last 3 polls, I'm beating you. So, you shouldn't misrepresent how well you're doing with the polls. You don't have to say that. In fact, I was all for you until you started doing that because that's a misrepresentation. Number one. Number two, this isn't me saying it. I don't care. I think I'm going to win fair and square. I don't have to win this way. Thank you. Lawrence Tribe and numerous from Harvard, said that there is a serious question as to whether or not Ted can do this, okay? There are other attorneys that feel, and very, very fine constitutional attorneys, that feel that because he was not born on the land, he cannot run for office. Here's the problem. We're running. He does great. I win. I choose him as my vice presidential candidate, and the Democrats sue because we can't take him along for the ride. I don't like that, okay?
Jeb is so wrong. You got to fight ISIS first. you fight ISIS first. Right now, you have Russia, you have Iran, you have them with Assad, and you have them with Syria. You have to knock out ISIS. They're chopping off heads. These are animals. You have to knock them out. You have to knock them off strong. You decide what to do after. You can't fight two wars at one time. If you listen to him and you listen to some of the folks that I've been listening to. That's why we've been in the Middle East for 15 years, and we haven't won anything. We've spent $5 trillion in the Middle East because of thinking like that. One of the officials, actually one of the ex-officials from Mexico, had a news conference, and he announced that we will not be paying for the wall. Who does Mr. Trump think he is? They came to me, the press, these people. Look at all those cameras back there. The press came to me, and they told me that he said he would not pay for the wall. Do you have a comment? I said, yes. The wall just got 10 feet taller. I can only say this, and I've said it loud and clear, and I've said it for years. And many of these people are sitting right in the audience right now, your lobbyists and your special interests and your donors, because the audience is packed with them, and they're packed with you. I've had an amazing relationship with politicians, both Democrat, Republican, because I was a businessman. As one magazine said, he's a world-class businessman. He was friendly with everybody. I got along with everybody. You get along with nobody. You don't have one Republican. You don't have one Republican senator, and you work with them every day of your life, although you skipped a lot of time. These are minor details. But you don't have one Republican senator backing you, not one. You don't have the endorsement of one Republican senator, and you work with these people.
Senator Cruz.
You should be ashamed.
Hillary Clinton is incompetent, okay? The greatest single thing, in my opinion, that she's ever done is to get out of the email problem. I think it's incredible. She did a great job on that.
I am certain that it was a decision that President Obama truly regrets. Her bad instincts and her bad judgment, something pointed out by Bernie Sanders, are what caused so many of the disasters unfolding today.
I see Hillary Clinton the other day. I don't like Donald Trump's temperament. And I was thinking, maybe I should actually have a very nice temperament. And I do. I get along. I have great relationships. I get along great. But you know what? It's time in our country that we had somebody with a strong temperament, I hate to say.
What happened in Orlando is disgraceful. Disgraceful that a thing like that can happen. And then they don't want to mention what happened. We have a president that doesn't want to mention what really happened. It's called radical Islamic terrorism, right? That's what happened.
And Hillary Clinton, through her incompetence, directly and indirectly created ISIS. And now she wants to get rid of it. She says, yes, we will fight ISIS. She's the one that created it.
I mean, you see what happened today where Bill Clinton goes in the other day into an airplane. Just happened to be, just a coincidence, He just happened to be at the airport at this time. Think of it. Just happened to be at the airport. When I first heard the story, I said, no, you're kidding. I don't believe it. I thought somebody was joking. But it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's a very serious thing. And to have a thing like that happen is so sad. And as you know, Hillary is so guilty. She's so guilty. Clinton wants to tax and regulate our workers to the point of extinction. True. She wants terrible trade deals, and she wants to continue terrible trade deals like NAFTA, signed by her husband, that will empty our manufacturing businesses even more so than they already are. During her time as Secretary of State, which was a disaster, she surrendered to China, allowing them to steal hundreds of billions of dollars in our intellectual property. Everybody knows this. We do nothing about it. She let them devalue their currency and add more than $1 trillion to our trade deficit. Then there was Libya. Secretary Clinton's reckless Libya invasion handed the country over to ISIS, which now controls the oil in Libya. Very, very pure, sweet, beautiful oil. Among the best in the world. ISIS has the oil from Libya. How do you like that, folks? Not so smart, right? So if you want to hear the corporate spin, the carefully crafted lies, and the media myths. The Democrats are holding their convention next week. Go there. Every dollar of energy we don't explore here is a dollar of energy that makes someone else rich, and really rich in some cases. I wonder if they're campaign contributors. What do you think? Do you think? They probably gave to the Clinton Foundation. So last night, we had this time. And then I wake up and I hear, number one, I love Saddam Hussein. I hate Saddam Hussein. But I love Saddam Hussein, according to the press, because they're dishonest as hell. They asked Ted, Lion Ted. I call him Lion Ted. He holds the Bible high, and then he goes down, he puts the Bible down, and then he lies. Lion Ted. You know, he'll say, I'm the only one that beat Donald Trump. I said it before. I beat him. But he doesn't say, yeah, he won like 4, and I won like 12 or 13, right? He forgets the other part. But Lion Ted. Let's defeat her in November. Okay? And I watched President Obama today, and he was more angry at me than he was at the shooter. And many people said that. Rosie O'Donnell's show is a disaster. It's a complete disaster. We have a president who's out campaigning for crooked Hillary Clinton, and he should be home working on ISIS, where the threat is getting worse and worse. He should be working on trade. He should be working on the borders. People are flowing into our country from lots of places. The irresponsible rhetoric of our president, who has used the pulpit of the presidency to divide us by race and color, has made America a more dangerous environment than, frankly, I have ever seen, and anybody in this room has ever watched or seen. In her testimony to Congress, Hillary Clinton said there was nothing marked classified on my emails, either sent or received, right? She said that. I heard it, you heard it, we all heard it. The FBI director said Hillary had sent or received more than 100 emails with classified information, including emails with confidential, secret, and top secret information, right? That's what they said. I don't know Bernie. I don't know him. I never met him. But they didn't treat him right, honestly. And what happened, he ran a very, very good campaign. And Hillary's people just swamped him. You're looking at Deborah Wasserman Schultz. I'll take our Reince over her any day in terms of competence. Forget it. Not for being nice or any of those things. Who cares? I will take Reince in competence over her, believe me, any day. The Middle East today is more unstable than ever before. Never been like this. Out of control. After 4 years of Clinton, who really led the way and led Obama down a horrible path, because I don't even think he could have made these decisions so badly. So Ted Cruz took a speech that was done, was on the teleprompter, said hello, then made a statement that wasn't on the speech, and then went back to his speech. See, to me, that's dishonorable. To me, not signing a pledge is dishonorable. We're talking about serious stuff. We're talking about the lifeblood of our country. We're talking about the safety of our people. The laws are very explicit. Stupidity is not a reason that you're going to be innocent, okay? It's not a reason. And I don't happen to believe that it was stupidity, okay? But even stupidity is not a reason. And boy, what they've done. Just to finish with Ted, because I like Ted, he's fine. Again, I don't want his endorsement. If he gives it, I will not accept it, just so you understand. If he gives it, I will not accept it. Won't matter. Honestly, he should have done it because nobody cares. And he would have been in better shape for 4 years from now if he's going to be. I don't see him winning anyway, frankly. But if he did, it's fine. Although maybe I'll set up a super PAC if he decides to run.